चैतन्य प्रभो नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंदा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Now this shloka talks about Maya yasya jagadanda satani shrute. Shata means hundreds. And this universe is the producer Anda, Jagat Anda. You know, the whole universe is like an eggshell. And there are millions. Shatani means hundreds and thousands. These are universes that produce. And these universes, what is the activating principle? See, in the spiritual world, any activity happens for the pleasure of the Lord. Maya does not have any entry there. Maya means it creates an illusion. So activities happen in pursuance of sense gratification in this world. What is the meaning of sense gratification? Activity for anything other than pleasure of Krishna. Just like now we are having kirtan. It is not sense gratification if it is done for Krishna's pleasure. And when an activity is done for our own pleasure, that is called sense gratification. Now in the material world, people want a facility to do activities independent of Krishna. Therefore, Maya permeates the material world. Because without Maya, it cannot happen. We give another simple example why Maya is permeating this world. Suppose a small child, he says to the mother, "Mother, give me moon." But the mother give moon to the child. Is it possible? What does the mother do? She takes a mirror, shows to the moon, and child is very happy. Yeah, I got moon. So in the same way, the Maya is doing the deluding business in this world, and she operates on us proportionate to what you want to be operated on. Those people who are, very pious, who keep themselves clean, neat, to them Maya influence is very reduced. They internally, externally keep themselves clean. They don't do any simple activities. They don't even think about bad things. They keep themselves pure like that. The Maya's influences touches there, because still there is some level of ignorance. And sometimes it is said if Sattva-guna also, person becomes very wise, that pride comes in. I am so intelligent. This little, a slight touch of Maya is there, even on Sattva-guna. And then there is Raja-guna. In that, person allows himself to think about foolish activities. He doesn't do it. That is called Rajas. Passion is there. Mind is blown up. But he is not doing sinful activities. He wants to become the richest man in this world. He is working very hard for that. He wants to get a lot of power. But his life as such is clean. Now there the Maya fully harasses his mind. But to the extent it does not do sinful activities. But there is one more stage where a person agrees to even do sinful activities. See, Maya will catch you to the degree you give room. So some people give all the room to the Maya. They are fully, do whatever you want. Yes, the Maya will drag him to do simple activities and your mind will blow mad. You go crazy. So, and above this three modes is the Vishuddha Sattva. Why it is called Vishuddha Sattva? Because two reasons we can take. Number one, normal Sattva that we have in this world is sometimes contaminated by Rajas. Somebody will be very peaceful, but suddenly one day he becomes very disturbed. That is possible. That is possible for all the conditions. So, but for that is one way it can be done. And second way, in the Vishuddha Sattva, there is no other trace, even touch of Maya. It is completely pure. So Maya, yes, Jagadanda Satani Sute. This unlimited universes that are created, that is all governed by Maya. Any activity that is done now, you see people are roaming in their buses, in their car, so you go to the main road, so much traffic is there. But everybody is pushed for activity for some illusion. Yeah? They are running, chasing illusion, that's all. A dog runs 60 km, 20 km per hour chasing illusion, and they are such mad fools. They make some big car and they run 300 km per hour. But what they are running after? Same illusion. That is called Dushkriti. He got intelligence, but the intelligence is running towards hell faster. Suppose there is Vaikuntha kingdom of God and there is hell. Animals anyway, poor fellows, they by experience they are learning slowly, they are growing. But you are a human being and you have got intelligence, but instead of using intelligence and all the resources, everything that Krishna has given us to catch the truth and connect ourselves back to Krishna and go to Krishna's kingdom, what we are doing with the intelligence today? Modern advanced society, we are accelerating with a high speed, we are going towards that and we think we are advancing. Not possible. So Maya is Jagadanda, so Maya is governing this world. Trayaguniya, so I explained to you the three gunas are influencing in this world. Sattva principle is for maintenance. Here, Bhaksana Prabhupada, there's some element of Rajas is also there. Maintenance means any administrator means he has to be tough sometimes. Just like recently, the administrator cannot sit silent, he has to punish. The biggest, he has to punish. So, and then we come to the element of Rajas, for that is for creation. It's just like people make big buildings, there is a lot of effort. Particularly, it happens in the government colleges and government offices. Big plans are made. I had one room to use and I used to see there 20 tables were there, wooden tables, and each table would have cost, how much, 10,000 rupees. They were made with big enthusiasm, 20 of them. And after that, nobody ever used it. That is called Rajas. With big enthusiasm, things are made, this is going to do and this is going to happen. And finally, when utility comes, it is of no use. So Rajas is involved in creation. And then there is destruction, the tamas is involved. And the three directors are there. The director of Rajas is Brahma. Not that Brahma is Rajasic, he controls it, that mode, all the people in that mode. And then there are Sattvic people who cultivate Sattva-guna. For them we have the Sattva-guna. And then Vishnu, they directly take the shelter of Vishnu. In fact, Bhagavatam says in the first canto that if you have wood, you have land, you have fire. From soil you get wood, correct? You have to cultivate the soil, then you get a tree out. And from wood you get fire. But what is important for me? Fire. I have to do cooking. So similarly in this world we say tamas, we say rajas, we say sattva. But if you want to attain success of life, sattva is needed. And therefore, person should take shelter of Vishnu. Now this is one part. Then Maya yasa jagadanda sadani sudhe Traigunya tad vishaya veda vidaya mana. Now this Traigunya, how to deal with this Traigunya, Vedas talk about it. Somebody is in Tamoguna, the Vedas teach him how he can gradually lift himself to Rajaguna. You are in Rajaguna, how can lift yourself to Sattva-guna? This is all the Vedic knowledge which is given by the Lord. So the Traigunya, the three modes are coming from Krishna, the Vedas are also coming from Krishna. But where is Krishna situated? Is he also under Maya? No. Sattva vilamba parasattvam vishuddha sattva. He is beyond Sattva-guna in a stage called Vishuddha sattva. In the first canto of Bhagavatam also, the shloka ends like that. What is the first shloka? 1, 1, 1. Janmadhyasya taratascha. What is the last line? Tene brahmahide adi kavi muhyante surya tejo vari mridam mridam dhamna sadhamna sada nirasta kuhakam sattvam param dhimahi. Krishna is situated beyond, his abode is beyond any effect. That is the glorious position of Krishna. Krishna is not affected by this. He is beyond the effect of three modes. Even though we see so many instances, we have to properly understand how Krishna is not affected. This requires a lot of maturity. And this is always when you see prayers of devotees to Krishna, one of the first meditation always is how Krishna is so much free from the effect of the three modes. Okay, so now let us just meditate on certain pastimes which we can glorify Krishna. Anything, whenever you gather together, our main intention is to glorify Krishna. Why we are gathered? We want to glorify Krishna together. Hear about some pastime of Krishna and fix our mind more and more on the glories of Krishna. Now we all know in the Bhagavatam, first thing Bhishma says this. When Krishna was to be elected in the assembly as the first person to be worshipped, Agra Puja they wanted to do in the Rajasuya Yajna, Yudhishthira Maharaj had arranged. Lord of all the Devatas had come, Brahma, Shiva, all the Devatas, all the great sages are there, everybody was there. That is a privilege because he was a great devotee of Krishna, everybody was there. And then when the Agra Puja was to be done, then officially it is asked, priest, whom you think we should worship. So people are giving suggestion and so Sahadeva, one of the persons there, he says, why not worship Krishna? Supreme Personality is there, why you are asking all this? And he gives so many reasons about Krishna, glorifies Krishna. At that time, who was there? Shishupal. And he started criticizing. Bhishma says that, Anyway, he criticized and he's killed. Later Bhishma says, people say I am a brahmachari. Bhishma was famous as a brahmachari. Very famous. And he says that, but the fact is, Krishna was dancing with the most beautiful apsaras. Apsaras are also nothing in front of it. These are all from Vaikuntha, unimaginably beautiful girls. Krishna was dancing with them, but he was not affected. If I was there in that condition, I would have been affected. But Krishna was sitting still alone, not at all attracted or disturbed by anyone. Krishna was just reciprocating their love and affection, that's all. Now this is, when just by thinking about Krishna, just like the example is of Jada Bharata. Jada Bharata, what was the condition? He was unconcerned, he is a great acharya. Even in previous life, he was a very advanced devotee, but slight mistake he does. He gets, attached to a deer when he is doing a tapasya. And when he dies, Krishna gives him body of a deer. And the next life he gets body of Jadabharata. So Prabhupada writes comment there in the purport, be careful. Just because you have to become a devotee, don't think you have to do anything and everything. Jadabharata was not spared by Krishna, correct? And he did so much tapasya, spare him? No. Krishna did not spare him, he had to take the punishment. So the same way, we should be careful. Now, the Jadabharata in the next world was so withdrawn from this world. There were so many situations that came. Sometimes people fed him nicely, sometimes people starved him, sometimes rape. He was unconcerned with the external situation of this world. He was just absorbed in meditation of Krishna. He was in a stage of Paramahamsa. Externally, internally, he was fixed on lotus feet of Krishna. Externally, he was indifferent. Brahma Bhuta Prasannatma na shojati na kanashati. Completely unconcerned. I don't want anything. I will do what to lose anything. So this is very important. When a devotee becomes free from Maya just by thinking about Krishna, then what is the position of Krishna? If you go near fire, your hand itself is burning. And how much temperature is just like sun. Nowadays in the afternoon, so hot it is. Even I take umbrella. Otherwise I just become dizzy. Huh? And imagine how hot it will be if you go to the sun. It will be terribly hot or not. The same way those people, as Prabhupada says, it is a choice of everybody. Krishna is not special that he gives mercy to one person. Krishna is ready to give mercy to everybody. But you have to go below the sun. No. You cannot blame Krishna. No, he is not giving me mercy. Come out, sun is there. Just like sun, you blame him. Sun is not giving you sunshine. He is not discriminating. You have to just go in front. The sunshine is there, full force. At least in the afternoons. You cannot blame the sun. He is not giving. The sun is not bothered. It is the poor man's house, rich man's house, bad person's house, good. He is giving his sunshine everywhere. So Krishna is also merciful to everybody. Provided you go and take the mercy. It is not the Krishna. God cannot be partial. So he is not partial. So Bhishma says, Jadabharata also, his situation was complete. So any devotee who is absorbed in Krishna becomes free from Maya. How can Krishna be touched with Maya? Not possible. Okay, so this is another example. And then we know in the example of Prahlad Maharaj also, another great devotee. Not at all. They tried to kill him so many times. Not affected. Not disturbed. No passion. No shouting. No howling. And how much you will shout and howl anybody in that condition? Little something we are tortured, little we are disturbed, we become so much disturbed. Prahlad Maharaj was attempt to kill him. How can there can be no enviousness more than that? He was not affected. He was so peaceful. Every time if he was brought in front of his father, he paid obeisances to his father. Even though his father has tried to kill him 100 times yesterday, they brought him forward. Again he gave obeisance. Offered his prayers to the father. That's what happened before the Hiranyakashipu takes his sword off. He offered his prayers to his father. My dear father. He said, why? He's still peaceful. Who gave you so much power that you are not scared of him? My dear father, the source of all the power is Krishna. My power and even your power has come from him always. But when you tell a good instruction to an idiot, what happens? The idiot gets very angry. And then rest is the story. He died finally. So Hiranyakashipu died. So the point here is that we saw Prahlad Maharaj, because he was on constant samadhi on Krishna. Look at the quality we cannot even imagine. Correct? Wonderful qualities he exhibited. That is Prahlad. And we have the example of Vritasura also in Bhagavatam. Vritasura in the previous life of Chitraketu, an exalted devotee of the Lord. Somehow he got cursed to become a demon, some misunderstanding by Durga. And then in the next birth, he was just commenting, Lord Shiva was sitting in assembly with the wife on his lap. So Chitraketu was on Vimana, some special Vimana. He just said, what is all this? We should not sit in assembly like that. What is it? Actually, it is correct because Prabhupada says in one sense he was right that then it become an example. People will follow that example. People will give Bhagavata with Gita with the wife on his lap. People may imitate. Just like Lord Shiva drank the whole ocean of poison and he kept on his neck. His some followers are the jokers who smoke ganja and they say, I am follower of Shiva, because he drank poison, I am also drinking poison. They tried to imitate Lord Shiva like that. So they may imitate. His point was, why, and it was in a very friendly way, because he was also an exalted devotee. He had just had darshan of Sankarshana, form of the Lord. And he was an exalted devotee. He was blessed by the Lord already, and he was completely under shelter of Narada. Exalted condition he is in. So at that time when he said that, Shiva never took an offense. Okay, that's a good point. He just smiled. But his wife thought, he is commenting on Lord Shiva, he's thinking he is like that. And she cursed him. Durga cursed him. And Durga is the mother of all the living entities in this world. She is our mother. The body comes from her. So what did Chitraketu do in that world? He came from his aeroplane, got down, he heard the curse first. Said, okay, some misunderstanding had happened. Came down from the aeroplane, fell at the pit of Mother, whatever you have done, I accept it. There was no fault. Any one of us will have cried, shouted, what is all this? I didn't do anything. Yeah? Little teacher gives 2 marks less, we start crying. Why teacher has done this? Yeah? Or teacher scolds sometime. Like there's so many things. Nothing. Not affected at all. It's peaceful. And he accepts the curse. That shows he is transcendently situated. And in the next word, he is born as a demon, Chitraketu. Again, he is not affected. As he is born as Vritasura now. Chitraketu is born as Vritasura. And Indra comes to fight with him. And many times he is about to kill Indra. Leaves. Because Indra has a weapon of Narayana Astra. He said, you kill now. And 2-3 times Indra weapon has fallen from his hand. He says, get up, kill. I want to die. He is not at all affected by the whole. And he is offering beautiful prayers. He is just waiting to leave his body, but because he has taken that body, he is doing the role he is supposed to do with that body. He is fighting with Indra nicely. But at the same time, he is constantly offering prayers. Many times in between the war, he offers beautiful prayers to Krishna. And Indra hears those prayers. And Indra, after the death of Vritasura, feels very sad. He himself says in the middle of battle, how was it possible? Because a devotee can understand another devotee. He said, how is it possible you are such an exalted devotee? Kechit Narayana, Kodeshu Api Mahamane. He said, it is so rare among crores. We can find a pure devotee of Krishna. Kodeshu Api Mahamane. Among crores of devotees, we can find one Shuddha Bhakta. He gets amazed. Here is a Shuddha Bhakta of the Lord. Born as a demon, he is amazed how it is possible. So much dependence, and you could feel, when he is offering prayers, he is a pure devotee. And his prayers, so many devotees make contests of the prayers of Vritasura, beautiful prayers. And imagine the condition, he is in the body of a demon, unnecessarily, somebody forced him there. He is just doing the duty as a demon, he has to fight. He has been given birth for fighting with Indra by the father. He is just doing that job. But at the same time, he has not lost his devotion and meditation on Krishna. This is the condition of a pure devotee. Even though he is there in this world, he is not affected by Maya. So in a pure devotee is not affected by Maya, how Krishna is affected? There was another example of Bhrigu. Once Bhrigu said, let me see who is the greatest. Because people say Brahma is great, some people say Shiva is great, some people say Krishna is great. Let me test out. They said, okay, I'll test. So what he does, first, he goes to Brahma. And what he does, Brahma is his father. He just ignores his father. Father is saying, Beta vada, looking at it. He's going there. Sometimes students do in the class. Teacher comes, they don't bother also teaching. So he becomes angry. So like that, Brahma becomes very upset. Why is he ignoring me like that? And he is about to curse him. He understands. Father is not the greatest. He walks away. Then he goes to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva is his brother. Both are sons of Brahma in this world. And he starts, speaking to him. You're like this. What is the dress of this? That? Something he starts speaking very abusively. And Lord Shiva, after some time, loses control, becomes very angry at him. He's also looking for his, that Trishul to hit him or something. He runs away from there. He's also. Then he goes to Vishnu, and Vishnu is lying in his yoga nidra, and Ananta Shesha, and Lakshmi massaging his lotus feet. He enters and straight goes and kicks him on the chest. And Vishnu holds his feet. He says, I think it would have pain, my chest is very hard. So now you see, the slightest offense is by gesture, more offense is by verbal, and the most serious offense is physical. But you see, even though the most serious offense was done, Vishnu did not feel offended at all. We are like the children. He doesn't get. Many times the devotees, Indra, when he was in the after all that rain needed and the Govardhan was lifted, Indra came to offer prayers. Even Brahma, he did all that natak of stealing the boys, and then he offered prayer. Both of them say this in their prayers. Krishna, just like a mother doesn't take any offense when the child kicks, correct? The same way, please pardon me. So yes, Krishna doesn't take any offense because he's completely beyond the three modes of material nature. So this is also another example. And then he came to the assembly of the sages who had deputed him to test who is the greatest. He said, yes, Krishna is the greatest. So then this is one more pastime we have. And then if you go to the Krishna's, Lord Rama also, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is Krishna himself. One day before he wants to take the throne, he left. Again he showed not affected by the three modes of nature. Then if you come now to Krishna's personal pastime, one after another. Krishna, when he was born, in the jail where they were going to kill Krishna very soon, he was not on Kamsa. Kamsa will come with his team to no. Krishna took the full form. Rather, Devaki and Vasudeva were very worried. Hare, come to small boys. If he sees Vishnu like that, they were very scared actually. And they wanted to hide him. Then Krishna anyway said, okay, take me to Vrindavana. And in Vrindavana, when Krishna came, immediately Putana, demons started coming. And Putana killed him, or came to kill him. Even after her attempt, Krishna had no envy or anger for her. Krishna said, I had to kill her because she was doing so much demonic activities. But this woman has given me milk. She is my mother. And he gave her the status of mother. So shows Krishna was not affected at all by this, attempt, anger, nothing. She came with all anger to kill him, but he was not affected at all. He's safe. Even in Bhagavatam, there is an instance when Ashwatthama tries to, he kills the 5 sons of Draupadi. And at that time, Arjuna's eyes are red. And Bhagavatam says, Krishna is still lotus-eyed. Still safe. In Bhagavad Gita, where Arjuna, just before the battle, what happens to Arjuna? Arjuna said, I will not fight the battle. But this is a very serious thing, no? Krishna arranged the whole battle. He is the one who organized actually. If you go Mahabharata, it was Krishna because of whom the battle was happening. Everything you see, now the battle happens. He has come. And Arjuna says, I am not going to fight. Krishna just smiles. Not affected. You have gone with the whole thing and the last minute, the most important person, I am not going to do the job. How angry you will be. Krishna just smiles. Arjuna surrenders to Krishna, Krishna is smiling. And smilingly instructs Arjuna. What happened? Gone mad or what? And he just instructs Arjuna and he says, decide now what you want to do. I'll fight. There can be no better teacher than Krishna. So again we see not affected. Then in Vrindavana, so many demons came to kill Krishna. And no time, Krishna was showing anger while he was killing. Krishna was laughing while killing, smiling and laughing. Prabhupada says there is no way you can see Krishna like that. He is always beyond the 3 modes of material nature. He is not affected by the 3 modes. Even if Krishna has anger sometime, that is transcendental anger. Just like Narasimha Deva, Krishna was angry, but there is transcendental. When the devotee is being heard, that is not on the material plane. That anger is not propelled by Maya. That is still on Vishuddha Sattva. When we get angry, our anger is coming from Ahankara, correct? But Krishna's anger is still transcendental. There is no pushing. Even devotees sometimes when the Lord is insulted become angry. But that anger is not material, that is transcendental. So that is not propelled by any desire for sense gratification. Everything can be dovetailed in that way. So that is so many demons. Arjuna, when he was fighting in the battle, he cannot fight like smiling. He was angry, fighting. But when Krishna was used to kill demons, he used to laugh and it is just like a father slapping a child. He is correcting the child. There is no anger or envy for the child. That is Krishna's skill. And then the people in Vrindavan are so attached to Krishna, that he was their life. When Krishna used to go to play with his cowherd boys, all of them, people in Vrindavan, will be looking at Krishna till he leaves, to the last one. He was their life. And whole day they will be waiting, when will Krishna come back? They will, in fact, the gopis used to be the topmost devotees, worried that Krishna's lotus feet are so soft. We are so careful by touching them, they are so soft. And he's going to walk barefoot in the forest. They used to be in trauma whole day and waiting when Krishna comes back. This is the beauty of their meditation. Prabhupada said that the topmost devotees, and they will be waiting to see Krishna when he comes back. As these devotees, so attached to Krishna, Krishna left to Mathura, never came back. No attachment possible. Not attached at all. And then even in that requires some more explanation, those who are new. Otherwise people know Virpralamba Bhava. Krishna never left Vrindavan, he was always there. Okay, that's a separate issue. And then in Dwaraka also, Krishna had 1,000 queens, and in the Bhagavatam there is a chapter where all the queens of Krishna, Krishna went for the Mahabharata war, or so many things he used to go. And he used to come to Dwaraka after some time. And all, particularly after the Mahabharata, this chapter is discussing, Krishna comes after a long time, establishing Yudhishthira Maharaj as the ruler and the battle. Before the battle, Krishna went as a peacemaker also. Some time, good few months were over. When Krishna came, the queens of Krishna, were so attached to him. And the Bhagavatam comments that they were so attached, so beautiful, all the queens of Krishna, that even Shiva cannot control himself if he sees them. They are so beautiful. Just like Shiva ran after Mohini Murti, correct? They are so amazingly beautiful that they can enchant anybody in this universe. But all of them together could not slightly attract Krishna this much also. He is so detached from. So that is the transcendental position of Krishna. No way Krishna was ever affected by any of the attractions of this world. Krishna stays in this glorious transcendental position. And that is the meditation we should have. Krishna is Akhila Rasa Amrita Sindhu. Krishna is full of unlimited spiritual pleasures. And if you want to become happy, just like suppose, when you want to light a candle, how do you do? What do you do when you want to light a candle? You touch it to fire, okay? And the candle burns. So similarly, we are also dependent on Krishna in completeness here. We cannot be happy on our own. Krishna is Atma, Rama and Swaraj. He is fully satisfied in himself, fully happy. He is independent of anybody else. For all of us looking for happiness, we have to get it from Krishna. How do you get it from Krishna? You have to contact Krishna. How do you contact Krishna? By loving dealings. Therefore Bhagavad Gita says it is the topmost yoga. Topmost yoga is to come forward and with the loving dealing begin devotion service to Krishna. Just like a child has left home, still the affection of the parents remain. When he comes back home, parents are ready to forget everything and again ready to take back the child, correct? Whatever nuisance child has done, he has done this, he has done this, he has spoken this. They are ready to forget in one moment. I'm sorry, forget. They forget. They are not ready to keep that in their mind, no? So same way, parents are only reflection, the real love Krishna has. Krishna, for all the unlimited living entities, has so much intense love. Therefore Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, Sarva Dharman, forget everything. Just come to my shelter. Aham Tvama Sarvapapebhyo. And you have done so many sinful activities, I'll forgive you everything. Master, don't worry. Prabhupada says this guarantee of Krishna is still standing, provided we take an opportunity to take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is ready to pardon us for all the offenses we have made. He is ready to pardon us for all the sinful activities we have made. Everything Krishna is ready for. But the condition is we completely surrender to Krishna. Okay? So we can achieve happiness and blissfulness of life coming with contact with Krishna, who is in his glorious position. What is said? Sattva Vishuddha Sattvam. His Sattvam, his existence is Vishuddha Sattva. His existence is completely transcendental. That is a glorious position of Krishna. He is not like us. Sometimes people make a mistake. They say when Krishna comes to this world, he is also affected by Maya. Many people have that opinion. It is unfortunate. And there should be no such opinion like that. Krishna is beyond the influence of Maya, completely beyond the influence of Maya. Therefore we call them Mayavadis. Mayavadi means offenders to Krishna. We should never minimize the position of Krishna as one of us. No, he remains Swarat, completely Bhokta Ram Yagnadavasam Sarvaloka Maheshwara. Krishna maintains his glorious position. Srila Prabhupada ki, Brahma Samhita ki.